All right. Ooh, oh man, I am excited about the guest that is on the show today. I am Anthony Brogdon, the host of Strong Inspirations, and my brothers and my sisters around the world who are watching me. I love y'all. Y'all give me energy, and I feel it. And I get comments every now and then, good ones too. I ain't got no bad ones yet. One lady said, well, get to the point. I get to the point so you get all of it. You get to know a lot. So I didn't know what she meant by that. But other than that, everybody, I am excited. Let me tell y'all just a little bit here. This is the last interview I have for 2022. I think I've done about 140 interviews in this year. I'm over 400 videos, and we are coming at you strongly. Strong S. We give it to you straight, no chaser here at Strong Inspirations. These people who come on this show, they are prolific historians, people who know what they talk about. They're experts, they're scholars, they're people who they have had things in their lives that they can tell it in their family. They know what they're talking about. I am blessed even more so by doing this show. I have found my mission in life. I like doing this, and I'm going to keep doing it from now on. Because there are people who come on the show, like the lady today, y'all gonna love what she got to tell you. Y'all gonna love this, my friends. And the people like her, and see, these is, and I don't mean this no disrespect. These are scholars and heavyweight people who vet me. They vet me, I understand, and I got no problem with that. And then they come on the show because my intentions are good and honorable. To inspire you, to educate you, and entertain you with history. And in my way, this is how I do it. There are a few other things that I do, my friends, let me tell you. But before I get to that, I want you to hit the subscribe button on Strong Inspirations. It's free. It don't cost no money. It don't ask no information. Just let me know you like me. I like you already. Hit the like button on this video. You're going to love this lady. This good-looking lady, too. Oh, my God, goodly. Ooh, y'all going to like this video. She know what she talking about. She good. Hit the notifications bell for when the videos come up. You get a ding, a shock, a smoke signal. Your lights flicker on and off your house. Stuff happens so that you know that there's new information on Strong Inspirations. Do that, my friend, and tell somebody about it. Don't just be sitting around as, you know, we coming out of the holiday season and whatnot. Y'all sitting at the table and you sharing what you learn on the channel and then don't want to tell nobody where you got it from so you can look smarter. Don't do that. Let it flow. Take it to them schools. You can move the cursor wherever you want to move it. You can pause it. You can watch it a little bit here, watch a little bit there. But watch this stuff. Now, you know, I'm a filmmaker, everybody. I did this documentary. I took 2 years out of my life to pull this together because when I had found out that there were some slaves who owned businesses, that tripped me out. They didn't tell me that in grade school. I don't think I would sleep on that class. And when I found that out, I said, whoa, I got to find a way to put it so people can hear these stories, and it's in a film. It's called Business in the Black. It's streaming on Amazon. Watch it there, my friends. And then, oh, let me tell you something. I went to 40 cities on my own dime. I had some money then. Got a little money now, I guess, but had money. And I took it to many towns to show it. And then I wrote the book on it. This book is good, my friends. Hey, everybody, I just got a whole new supply. You order a book, I ship it out the same day or the next day. You got to have this. Slaves who went to college, and I name names. I tell you the schools they went to, the schools that accepted Black people back in those days, all the ways slaves gained their freedom. I list 28 businesses owned by slaves. That if you didn't know it, you'll know it now. And it's very reasonably priced because I want you to have it. I don't need to keep the copies in my house, in my office. You need to get this book and I autograph it. So go to my website, businessintheblack.net. I do public speaking too. I got some, people hit me up. And I come at you too. I tell you some stories. So do that, my friends, businessintheblack.net. Now, you hear me use this term strong a lot. Strong is my favorite word. I love the word strong. I try to be a strong guy in many ways. It's the name of the show, Strong Inspirations. And in my world, strong stands for strength, tenacity, resilience, and a sense of oneness, nobility, and grace. And that is my introduction to my guest today. She's a strong soul sister. Come on, introduce yourself. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Well, hello today to you, Mr. Brogdon. It's my pleasure to be on the show, and actually I'm quite thrilled to be on the show because you're giving me the opportunity to talk about a project that is very dear to my heart.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Now tell us your name. Tell us your name.
I'm Wallace Tenney. I'm a project director right now for a Telling the Full History project of the National Trust for Historic Preservation and the American Rescue Plan and the National Endowment for the Humanities. Oh. And I can tell you something about my background also. I have a bachelor's degree from Florida A&M University in Tallahassee, Florida.
Yep.
A master's degree from the University of Florida in Gainesville, and a PhD from the University of Iowa in Iowa City, Iowa.
Oh my God, that's heavy. Let me just ask a couple questions about yourself there. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in West Palm Beach, Florida, where I was reared.
Wait, was you on the black side of town? And
of course.
Yeah. What was the black side of town called?
Well, we really didn't have that problem in West Palm Beach because, the black side of town was the opposite of Palm Beach. So it was pretty nice.
Oh, really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you mean by that? Palm Beach was the white side and it just
Palm Beach was where all the rich people lived.
Okay.
And originally, Palm Beach was occupied by a community of Black people who were there because the white industrialist Henry Flagler brought in a lot of people. There were people there already from the Bahamas who used to come in and do some kind of fishing stuff, and they lived there. And then when Flagler came, he brought a lot of people to build his empire and to service all the people who were coming there. So the early churches and early schools, everything were on Palm Beach for the Black community in West Palm Beach. And it was called the Sticks, S-T-Y-X. They used to call it the Sticks, which is the equivalent of meaning hell, H-E-L-L. But they call it the Sticks, and it kind of ended. They said there was a fire or whatever in around between 1911 and 1917, 18, 19, something like that. And they moved over to West Palm Beach in what was called Pleasant City.
Okay, well, let's delve in that just a tad so the people will understand. So is West Palm Beach a less pretty of a place and Palm Beach is something like that? Of course.
Everybody, everywhere in the United States is less pretty than Palm Beach. Palm Beach is where the wealthiest people live, so it's very pretty.
I mean,
even the white community in West Palm Beach is less pretty than Palm Beach.
Because it's on the water or something like that?
Because it's wealthy. Wealth is, wealth, people with wealth, they know they have enough money to make everything look really pretty.
Yeah, I got you. I got you there. I got you there. So did you grow up with only black kids or something like that?
Oh yes, yes, absolutely.
Went to the black high school
I
and
went
that
to the black high school. It was first it was industrial elementary and high school, and then we got a new high school, Roosevelt High School, and then when integration came, that high school was, downgraded because of the white kids, whatever.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So
that
it's
whole
something
thing.
to it. Yeah. Now how about this? So you were a smart lady and you were smart back then. Did you compete against some white kids and beat them in some scholastic thing and then they tried to hold you back because of that? Did that ever happen?
Uh, that didn't happen to me, but it did happen to my daughter.
Really?
Hmm.
Okay. Let me ask you this, and I don't mean no disrespect in this. Have you ever been called a nigger?
Never.
Okay, so racism doesn't have that ugly head down there, so to speak.
Well, we were separate, so you
Oh, I
live in
love
your
it.
own
Okay.
community. So we had actually it was comfortable. It was not the worst thing in the world, I have to admit.
I
We
got
were
you.
not living in Mississippi, Alabama, and Louisiana and Georgia.
I got
It
you.
was Florida, where
I got you.
the Seminoles that I'm supposed to be talking about,
Yeah, we're gonna get to them.
where
Sure.
they were the ones who occupied this state pretty much before uh, the United States became a state in
All right.
1845.
Okay, we're gonna get to. I got one more. Oh, do you know where the plantation is in your family?
Where the plantation is in my family?
Yes.
Well, on my father's side of the family, we have the Hams in uh, South Carolina.
Oh,
In
really?
uh, what the hell is the name of the town? Well, you have to realize you
Yeah,
are
yeah,
talking to someone,
yeah,
and all of a
yeah,
sudden the
sure,
name of the town has
sure,
nothing.
sure.
But yeah, we have we actually, contrary to what a lot of people, the man who was the owner of the enslaved population actually gave people the 40 acres.
Oh, is that right?
Yes. So different ones in the family each got 40 acres.
In South Carolina.
Hmm.
Did so how let just one more. How did your family get to Florida then? Were you a part of some escape group that got there,
No,
or
no,
is
no,
that the
no.
case? Okay.
They left. No, they left after.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
they
yeah.
just came to Florida because I guess there was more opportunity in Florida.
Oh, okay.
With Flagler and all of that development, bringing the train and you know the land and stuff. The development.
I got you. So let me back on to you one more quick question. When did you start appreciating Black history?
Always, because we were taught that when I was in school. Our teachers, that's all they talked about, how great we were.
Is there a particular story that moved you? That I know a lot of them did, but is there one that you can share that said, "Oh man, this caught me"?
Well, we used to have people would come by our school. We would have important people like uh, Jackie Robinson. When he came to town, he would come. They would make sure that we got to
Oh, I
interact
love
with
it.
him. One of the things about having the all black schools, we got some of the best entertainment because the
Oh,
people would come, and people like Paul Robeson, different people like that, they would come to our communities and perform, I guess, for practically a little of nothing. But we had doctors, we had lawyers, we had several dentists in West Palm Beach. So we had plenty of people with we had one man in West Palm Beach, and we have pictures to prove that, who claimed to be, his name was Thomas Jefferson, And he said and he lived over in the sticks. And I have that article that was back there, that his family descended from Jefferson, some of the.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Now, what was the street that the black businesses were on? Is there a particular street in West Palm that was the
Well,
main
actually, yes,
thoroughfare?
there was a street that called Rosemary.
Rosemary. Okay.
And it's still there. They decided to, in West Palm Beach, they changed the name of the streets when it was in the black community. So, like Clematis was the dividing line between the white community and the black community. So they changed the names of the streets when they were coming to the black community. So our street names were Rosemary. We had
Okay.
names of flowers, uh,
Yeah.
Sapadilla. Uh,
Oh.
we
I
had one called Division Street, and one called Douglas. But all of these streets were changed from the names that they were in the white community, because they continued into our community. But they
yes.
kept, now that they've done all the renovations and changed everything in West Palm Beach, they kept our names instead of their names. So I thought that
Oh.
was really interesting.
Oh. Now,
So they kept Rosemary and Sapadilla.
now, what we want to talk about, at some length is about Seminole Indians. Are you a Seminole Indian? A
Well,
descendant?
I'm a descendant of, I think, the Miccosukees actually, but I really don't know, and I'm really not trying to find out about what the descent is. But my grandmother was born on a reservation up by around Tallahassee, and if you look at her, you could see that she was a Native American person, with the long braids, et cetera, whatever
Okay.
she looked like. But
Okay.
her skin complexion was kind of like, if there is such a, I won't say gray, but it was somewhere between me and you.
Okay. Okay.
And so but she looked, really like, and so somehow that gives me some kind of percentage
Some
of Native
Indian.
American or Seminole or whatever blood.
Okay. Now,
And but she was born on what was called a Miccosukee reservation, so I don't know, or
so
or
who
place.
who were her parents?
Her parents were, I do know everybody, but you were
Yeah.
asking me
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
that I
Yeah.
don't keep in my head. But
No, that's all right.
her mother was, her name was Eler, Florence Eler Jones Ham, and I actually do have a whole thing of everybody. But my
Mhm.
thing is, I guess my cousin, I got involved in the thing that you're going to be talking to me about today because my cousin, Issa Ham Bryant, was so um, enamored, and I don't think the word is enamored, but because it was more of a spiritual quest for him to reclaim his history and to reclaim his ancestry. And so he did that and started the organization that I'm here to talk with you about today, Florida Black Historical Research Project. And Issa was a very beautiful young man, and he grew up realizing, you know, that that he was a special person. And he grew up in West Palm Beach, but his family actually was from Tampa, Florida. But he grew up with my grandmother in West Palm Beach, and claimed her as his grandmother. She was his grandmother's sister,
Okay.
and so he started this organization in 1996. But he had been working for years with the Afro Arts Festival, and when he found out that in West Palm Beach there was a Seminole village that had been attacked in 1838 by military troops from the United States, and they found that that spot at Loxahatchee River Battlefield Park in Jupiter, Florida. And he got with the archaeologists and the historians who were excavating the site, and
Sure.
he really is come almost single-handedly responsible for them saving that site from from a golf course that they wanted to put there and other
Is
things.
that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's
So,
a fantastic young man who has since passed away in
sure.
2000.
Well, let's go back to for what you know that you said your grandmother was born on a reservation.
Right.
So one of her parents are Indian, or both of them, or did one of
Yeah,
them, the
her
Indians and the black people were mingling
her father, my grandmother's father was Native American. He was like full-blooded or whatever. And
okay,
the mother, I think, was like half and half. Like
okay,
she was mixed with uh black, but the
okay.
father was
Oh,
supposed to be a Native American person.
so I wonder how this happened. So okay, so the black people are around the Indians, or are they're living among the Indians on
Well, see,
reservations?
this is what happened in Florida.
Okay,
Uh, from early times in the 16th century, uh, Black people, contrary to what has been told, whenever Black people got the opportunity, they freed themselves from enslavement. They
right,
self-emancipated.
right,
And so you have communities of what all over the Americas are called maroon communities,
right,
which is Black people who are freeing themselves from bondage and living out from the so-called society among either by themselves or among Native Americans.
right.
So this same thing happened in Florida, although it's never told that. They pretend like there were no maroon communities in the United States.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, we know
Florida
better
was,
than that.
yeah,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
Florida was a big whole maroon. The whole Seminole nation is a nation of maroon communities. That's what these people were. They chose not to. Well, the Native Americans, of course, were living as Native Americans, and the the blacks who would escape would be out there. So they got together because they're indigenous. Black people come from an indigenous foundation in
Right,
Africa. So
right,
we are about the land. We are about a whole different approach. We do not have colonized minds. We do not see
right,
ourselves in that way. So
right,
that there was a lot of similarity, complementary uh, things between the Native Americans and the Black people whom they encountered, so that the two groups, intermingled, often intermingled.
okay,
And then the intermingling was what makes it something that people don't understand. The intermingling, because of the Fugitive Slave Acts in the United States that allowed people to legally go out and round up Black people,
right,
that it made it difficult for the people in Florida because they found out that there were all these communities of Black people who had freed themselves before from wherever, or were the descendants of people who had freed themselves. And they were just living here in communities all over the state and
okay,
the central and northern part of the state for
right,
sure.
right,
And they would come into the state to try to, with their guns and all of their legal things, even
yeah,
though this was owned by the Spanish at that time, and
okay,
try to get, to just steal Black people from their
yeah,
communities with their weapons because they had all these guns and things.
right,
So it was really a very difficult thing. So that by the time that history is starting to record this intermingling in a real way, an American way. You have people who are trying to protect themselves. So you have many of the Native American Seminoles are now claiming the Black people as their slaves.
Okay,
They're saying,
okay.
we bought these people. These are our people. These are not your people. So they had to do this. But like you'll read the history and they'll say things now historians are saying this. Mm-hmm. Well, it's and the military people, that the Black people are leading the Indians, that they're in charge, that they take that, the Indians do what they tell, all this sort of thing. So that if these people had been actually enslaved, they would not be leading the people, and they would not be the ones telling them what to do and that sort of thing.
Okay.
It's a really, the story is so confusing because of the United States giving credibility to people to go and actually steal people, human beings, and bring them back and say whatever they want to say that these people are, and sell them to other people.
Right.
So this really created a real problem among the people once these fugitive acts were legalized in the United States.
Let me ask you this. Now, is Seminole a term based on Native Americans intermingling with Black people, or were there Seminole Indians before Black people came along?
There were no Seminole Indians. There was never anybody called a Seminole Indian. This term is a derivative of who you want to listen to. The Native Americans who want to claim it will say that it's some term that the Creek Indians had, and different historians will go with different things, but everybody knows that it's a term that came from the term cimarron. And cimarron is a term that comes from the Spanish cimarrone. And it's, and the word Seminole is the English, what do you call it? Derivative or whatever. They're using it. So the word, my thing is that what's certain, and everybody knows this, that was never anything called a Seminole Indian. The Americans decided to call all these people Seminole, the Black people, the Native Americans. The Native Americans were the Yamasee, the Hitchiti, the Creeks, the Tallahassee, Pensacola. There were all kinds of Native American groups, and their names were not Seminole. No one was named Seminole.
I got you. Is so now they're intermingling, and they just want to stay on their land, leave us alone. American government couldn't have that, and then started coming in there and trying to push them off the land and having battles.
Yes, it's a really complex story, but Andrew, well, it all has to do with the plantation owners in Georgia and the other southern states around the borders of Florida being upset because their enslaved population was being lured into Florida.
I got you.
And so they complained to the United States, and Andrew Jackson decided he would take it into his hands, like, kind of a Trump type person.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be political here, just to kind of give you an idea of how, he's just going to take it on his own to go or I would say a Putin type person. Crazy, just go and just try to and kill up the people, so that you can satisfy this thing for these owners.
Not in these battles, these Indians had guns too, so they were.
Well, this was later on but they didn't always have guns. but they did begin to arm themselves. Like time. Like over
Yeah, yeah,
time,
yeah,
they
yeah.
learned they because they had money. They were well, a lot of the Native Americans and the African Americans among them were wealthy in Florida.
Really?
Yeah, they had, and a lot of, and that was another thing that got to the plantation owners, was that these people were living down here in different little towns. They have the names of all these towns, and many of them had their own uh, plantations and had their own crop. They had big cattle, had lots of cattle, lots of crops. They were doing well,
Oh, is
but
there is there a
nobody
black?
tells this. Nobody tells this story.
Yeah, let's tell it here. Is there a black guy that is noted as a black Seminole Indian that was very vocal or very a warrior or any of that kind of
Well,
thing?
the only ones that they talk about are the interpreters, like Abraham and John Horse, uh, John Cavallo. But over the years, I think I haven't done this research, but Jane Landers, who is an excellent researcher, has
Yeah,
done a lot of research into a lot of this, but more needs to be done to
sure.
really identify people who were, because there's also a historian, Cantor Brown, who's done some on what they call what do they call it? The Negro plantations.
Hmm.
They had these Negro plantations, something they call the Negro plantations. And he has a whole chapter in one of his books, Cantor Brown Jr.
Okay, I'm gonna look him
Uh,
up.
and he's really good. And but there's so much of the history just that has not been told, and may never get told. But I think some research into Spanish records will bring more uh, into light, and more of the diaries and things of uh, the people who used to travel in the state would help give more information about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Now, the organization, give us the name of it and what are you all doing?
Well, the Florida Black Historical Research Project, Inc., as I said, was given this $50,000 grant from the National Trust for Historic Preservation to hold what we're calling a reunion. We're bringing in Black Seminoles who were exiled from Florida on the Trail of Tears to Oklahoma, ended up in Texas and Mexico, and also the ones who were run from the Negro Fort down to Angola in Florida, a town called Angola, and one with the name I never can pronounce starts with the word P. But at any rate, the people from the Negro Fort that was bombed by Andrew Jackson and those, and killing all those people, the the people who left from there, many of them came down to the Tampa area, and they left there and went to the Bahamas. Went from Tampa to Key Biscayne, and then took ships to the Bahamas because many of those people had helped the English fight the U.S. in the War of 1812.
Okay.
So there were many Black people, and so who were not Native American, who helped. So many of them who joined with the Native Americans and were also Black Seminoles who left from Central Florida and went to the Bahamas and Red Bay's Andros Islands. So
Now,
that's the story that we're going to be telling, and the people we're going to have at our event at Loxahatchee River Battlefield Park in Jupiter, Florida, because the Loxahatchee River Battlefield is where my cousin Isa and the rest of them saved the land from the developers and helped to have a historic site named there, Loxahatchee River Battlefield site. And so we're going to be doing it from January 11th through the 15th. We're working with Palm Beach State College and the Parks and Recreation Department of Palm Beach County, with the county manager's office, Miss Virginia Baker. She's the county manager there, and she's very helpful. And Jennifer Cirillo is the park director, and Tracy Pillay is the provost in charge of Palm Beach State College. And these people have been very helpful in getting this program, these days, these what we're calling Seminole Maroon Remembrance Days.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me ask you this.
One thing I'd like to mention too.
Go ahead. Yeah.
There's a city mentioned on a town, a village called Chachi's Village that is listed on two of the military maps. And so we're going to be recognizing Chachi's Village as having been there. There's a whole nother story about Chachi's Village, but the village was there in West Palm Beach, and it is recorded, and there's lots of history around that Seminole village that was there. And we're going to recognize that during our those days on Thursday, actually.
Well, let me ask you this. So the site that you all are having this at, it was a battlefield.
Yeah, well, they're calling it a battlefield, but it was a village site. It was the site of a Seminole village, and it became a battlefield because the United States was trying to get rid of the people and, engage them in warfare.
How large is that village or that site?
It's about 80 acres.
Well, that's pretty good size then.
Yeah, it's pretty big. Yeah. And actually, I think it's bigger than that.
Yeah, but that's pretty good site. So is there a historical marker there?
Yes, there are two markers. I don't know if I sent you that, but there are two markers there.
Okay. Okay.
Historic markers for there were two battles, and they call them Jessup's battle and Powell's battle, because one battle was on January 15th and one was on January 24th. So we have our event every year, Martin Luther King weekend, because we want to emphasize the Seminole peace that was there for years before the war came and uprooted the people.
Is there any record of how many people were killed in that battle, in either one of those?
Well, they don't really have good records because the Native American people didn't lose nearly the number of people that the United States lost.
Oh, really? So we won that one in some respects.
Yeah, well, yes. The Seminoles in Florida say that they're the unconquered people. The Seminole Nation of Florida.
Yeah.
Seminole tribe of Florida calls themselves the unconquered people.
Yeah, I've heard that. Just a couple more. So, what else? Why? And you told me why January, but I mean, who do you want to come? I mean, you how do you get to the Seminoles to let them know that kind of thing?
Anybody who's interested in history and in this history, we encourage them to come, because on Thursday we're having conference day at Palm Beach State College, and we'll have we'll have the scholars like Grace Turner, Dr. Grace Turner will be talking about the Bahamians. We'll have Dr. Uzi Barham, who will be talking about the Black community, Angola, and its significance. We'll have your person, Dr. Anthony Dixon, there. He'll be talking about and giving an overall message. And we'll be having many people from the target communities coming in, particularly on Saturday. We have Dr. Rosalind Howard, who wrote the book on the Black Seminoles in the Bahamas. And we just know that people who are interested in this history and interested in finding out what really was going on in Florida before it became a state in 1845 should come and know this history. And on Saturday and Sunday, very important, our keynote speaker on Sunday is an architect, an indigenous architect. His name is Chris Cornelius, and he has a beautiful, beautiful, I don't know, the wisdom, the Native American wisdom that he brings to architecture. And the reason we wanted him to come is that the county has committed itself to building us a site, a center, a historic, a museum type center
Yes,
here.
I love
And so
it.
we wanted him to talk so that he could be the bridge between this, where we are now and where we
Yes.
want to be in terms of the site. So
That,
he's going to be talking about bringing that perspective to the physical site. Uh,
okay. Well, that leads to this question. What's at the site now? Is it just a vacant land, or did people
no,
build on it, or something?
it's a beautiful site because it's also Riverbend Park. So there's so much to do there. You can go horseback riding, but the
Okay.
site, but not on the historic site. The
Yes.
historic site has its own acreage, but the park is huge. So it has a Seminole Village site that
Oh,
they're working on, and it has it's no, it's not just the land. It's already started, but it does not have the museum on it
I got
that we
you.
want.
I got you. So when people come from out of town, if somebody watches this, where should they fly to, and how do they get there?
Palm Beach International Airport, and we're staying at the Fairfield Inn on Indian Town Road, but there are other places that would welcome people there,
Yeah.
and but the Fairfield Inn has a rate for us,
Okay, I got you.
and we also we we're going to be having quite a few people coming in from Texas, from different places, California, all kinds of places, because we have right now at least uh, about 80 registrants
Okay,
who consider themselves as Seminole descendants.
I got you.
So
Let me ask.
but we encourage, and many other
Sure,
people come to
sure,
our events. So
sure.
we encourage people who are interested in our history to come and find out about our history.
Just a couple more. What big city is West Palm near? Because sometimes the
West
small
Palm Beach is
airports
a big city, but anyway, it's near Fort Lauderdale
for Lauderdale.
and Miami
Okay,
and
so
Miami.
if you fly any one of those, then you're probably an hour drive
Yes, if you
and
fly
less.
into Miami, you're an hour drive away. If you fly
Okay,
into Fort Lauderdale, you're about 40 minutes away,
okay,
30
okay,
minutes. But yes,
okay. A
but if you
couple
fly
more.
into West Palm Beach, you're like there.
What are most people wearing Indian attire, or is it
For
casual
some
dress?
people, I understand from some of the people who are coming that they will be in their regalia. But,
Okay.
you know, we're, people can wear whatever they want.
What because the weather will be in the 60s.
The weather right now is in the 70s.
Oh man, I'm in Detroit. I'm on my way. I'm
It's
in,
nice weather here.
yeah.
Last week we had a couple of days that we were wondering where did they come from. I guess,
Oh,
but basically it's pretty good weather. I haven't
okay.
looked at the
Yeah,
almanac to see
yeah,
what the weather
sure.
would be like, but
Just a couple more lightweight questions, so to speak. Can if I come, can I get some Seminole food or some Native American
well,
food, that kind of thing?
um, yeah, I don't know.
Mhm. Is there a
We've
restaurant?
talked about that. We've talked about that, and for the planner,
Yeah.
I'm the planner. I
Yeah.
would just assume like I don't want to work. I don't want to add that to my
I
list,
mean,
but
but you
some
can cook a
people
dish like that yourself?
know. But
Okay,
you
okay,
have the
okay.
people who do it, and then it's a,
Yeah, I understand.
yeah.
What about one more? Do you have a banquet where people gonna dance?
We have we're having a reception on Wednesday, and we're like opening up for people on Saturday. But yeah,
Okay.
we'll have something for people who are interested and we're having the Junkanoo will be there on Saturday. So
What is that?
the Junkanoo is this, these Bahamian people who dress up in all this
Oh, really? I love
stuff.
it.
Yeah, and then they'll be there on Saturday.
Okay. What is your website? How do people register?
Well, we have an Eventbrite, but our
Okay.
website is fbhrpinc.org. FBHRP Inc. is Florida Black Historical Research Project. Those are the initials.
Yes.
FBHRPinc.org. And we have an Eventbrite Seminole reunion, Seminole Maroon reunion, 185th annual. Because what this event is the 185th annual, not annual, but anniversary of this quote war. And we have also, we'll be honoring, my cousin had an event there 25 years ago
Okay.
that brought the people from Oklahoma. So this will be the anniversary year of that. 2023 will be the anniversary year of that event. So we're also honoring him and honoring that event at this event.
Oh, okay. I love it. In closing, what would you like to tell people? Come on down. You're gonna have a good time. You know that kind of thing.
Yes, well, you will have a good time. You'll learn a lot if you come on Thursday and Friday because we have all of our things. But on Saturday and Sunday at the park, Thursday and Friday are bus tour, and they'll be we're going to be touring the sites, the Seminole sites in the county.
Okay.
And on Thursday night, we're at Palm Beach State College, and Friday, we're at Palm Beach State College, where, all this information and all the stuff is given by scholars and different
Yes.
people. And then on Saturday and Sunday, we're at the park, and the descendants will be coming out on Saturday and telling about their lives and the people and what it was like, what it's like to be a descendant and who their ancestors were, et cetera, like that. And then
Okay.
on Sunday, we have a spiritual day when we cleanse the land. We do a lot of spiritual things, and that's when we'll have Chris Cornelius do our final keynote address.
Okay. I love
Uh,
it.
but
I
I
love it.
but we're going to be doing a lot of talking, and one of the things I did want to mention, I didn't mention, is that we're going to be talking about language. I heard you mention earlier in the show when you were talking about slaves, and one of the things that we're trying to get is to no longer use this colonized
Yeah,
language
I
to
love it. I
describe
love it.
ourselves. And so we're working hard to eliminate words like runaways and escaped slaves, because here we have heroic actions, and you take a heroic action where you risk your life and your family's lives to free yourself so that you can live a free man, and then people are calling that runaway, like a child, like
Right.
you've done something. And this is a heroic act that deserves, you're self-emancipating yourself. This is heroism, but we belittle it by calling it runaway
I
and
love it.
escaped slaves. So we're trying to, because these people were not slaves, they were human
Enslaved.
beings who were forcibly
Yes.
retained
Yes.
by under gun. You couldn't, I mean, you were not just retained. People did not stay on don't let people fool you. Nobody stayed there because they wanted to. They stayed because there was a gun over their head, even though you didn't see it, but it
Right.
was there and they knew it was there.
Right.
So, and all the people in these towns were, but at any rate, we want to change the language we use to talk about ourselves.
Right.
That's one of the things that we're going to be emphasizing.
I love it. I love it. Well, hey, everybody. She taught you something, did she? She said, stop using them words like it's our fault.
Yeah.
That's the hunter telling us, the hunted, that, hey, this is what you did wrong. we wasn't wrong at all.
Right.
And that's
belittling our efforts to free ourselves. And
I love it.
Yeah.
Everybody, check out the website. Go down to the festival. Support them. And do you all do other events throughout the year of some sort? Are there other festivals in that same area?
Well, we don't, because we live in Miami. So we've been continuing this event because it was started by my cousin Esau, and he passed away.
Yes. Okay, I got you.
And
everybody
he's doing quite a bit in the area himself.
Yes.
With the young people and all of that.
Yes, I love it. Hey, man, what a lesson. Everybody, strong inspirations. Well, we give it to you straight, no chaser. Let the people do the talking who know what they're talking about. It happened in their family and so on and so forth. Come on down there to that festival. Go down to that region. Look her up. She'll say, and then tell her when you met her, say, I saw her on Strong Inspirations. And that's why I'm here. Let's keep this history alive. Keep these stories told. And this is all of them are good, but this is a really good story of where we won in many respects, fighting for our dignity. All we were saying is leave us alone. Let us live. And the man couldn't do that. And then this sister right here, she come out of that community. She's a pillar of that area. She took the mantle and ran with it. Got the highest degree that you can get. Don't got to get no more, but others if you need to. And so to you, my sister, before I say that, everybody hit the subscribe button on Strong Inspirations, hit the like button on this video, hit the notifications bell, tell somebody about Strong Inspirations. And to you, my sister, I say this and I mean this with all sincerity. I want you to stay strong, stay safe, stay on your grind. I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
I look forward to meeting you one day. Thank you.
Keep it up.
Bye-bye, everybody. We out.